Hi, my name is Ander. Welcome to another edition of CMS Forex News. Today is Monday, June 30th, 2008. In New Zealand, May business confidence nudged up, with a net 39% of businesses expecting worse conditions in the year ahead, better than the 50% in April. Building approvals went from a positive 82% in April to a negative 42.3% in May, and shows the volatility in this study. In Australia, the TDMI inflation gauge rose 0.5% for the month of June and is now at a record annual pace of 4.8%. The indicator goes back to 1999, with last month's 4.5% being the last record high. Fuel prices are driving up this increase. The RBA is expected to hold its official cash rate at 7.25% in its meeting overnight. The bank has already increased rates 4 times in late 2007 and early 2008 when other central banks were cutting rates. The higher inflation number helped the Aussie dollar-US dollar to break above the 0.9650 level to set a new 25-year high at 0.9665. Also, Australian exports, especially coal and steel, hit new record highs today, providing a boom to the economy and the currency. After 5 a.m., Greenback strength entered the market, and the pair gave up most of its gains from today's and Friday's sessions. In Japan, the manufacturing PMI, a snapshot of activity in the sector, fell to its lowest level in 6 years. For June, the index showed a 46.5 reading. The 4th straight month the sector has been below 50, the level separating expansion and contraction. The annual pace of housing starts fell 6.5%. This was lower than forecasted, but the indicator is starting to stabilize after being down as much as 40% in the 4th quarter. In the UK, the GfK Consumer Confidence Index fell 5 points to negative 34 for June, coming close to its lowest level since the survey began in 1974. It was a very gloomy report, with outlook for the next year and willingness to make major purchases falling to record lows. Also in the UK, mortgage approvals fell to a fresh low of 42,000 in May, declining about 25% from April's 58,000. The government began tracking this series 9 years ago. Mortgage lending declined to £4.1 billion. The data underscores the problems facing the UK housing market. Tighter lending standards are reducing the pool of potential buyers, causing housing prices to drop. The pound-yen pair fell sharply today, sliding as much as 280 pips before recovering most of those losses in New York trading. The volatility seen at the end of last week resumed Monday as oil hit a fresh high and global stocks were on edge. The pound was also weighed down by its weak consumer confidence and mortgage lending data. In Europe, the preliminary version of annual CPI jumped to 4% from May's 3.7%. This is double the target rate of the ECB, which meets this week and is expected to raise rates by a quarter point. Traders will now look for a more hawkish statement from the ECB if policy members want to remain credible about fighting inflation. The euro-dollar rose to a new high above 1.5835 around the time of the CPI release. From there, Greenback strength pushed the pair about 100 pips off that high, bringing the pair to support at 1.5730. The euro-yen continued its losses today as European stocks initially slipped but recovered towards the end of the European session. The pair slid 170 pips at one point from its intraday high, finding support around 166.20. The last 3 trading sessions have seen the euro slide 300 pips from its record high set last Thursday. The dollar-yen pair fell about 130 pips overnight to set a new 3-week low before pairing those gains during the later European and New York sessions. It is the 3rd day in a row there has been a sharp decline in the pair as risk aversion continues to dominate the markets. The yen also got a boost from the credit agency Moody's, which raised Japan's local currency debt rating, saying its banks have avoided the worst of the credit crisis. In the U.S., the Chicago PMI rose 49.6, better than expectations, but still below the 50 level of expansion. The sub-indexes for deliveries and employment led the slight increase. In Canada, GDP for the month of April rose 0.4%, a marked improvement from the last 2 months, which were negative. Greenback strength overnight helped push the US dollar-Canadian dollar pair about 130 pips higher than its intraday low. The move reversed all of the loonies gains from last week. Tonight, Japan releases its Tenkan survey, an important quarterly measure of Japanese economic activity. This is followed overnight by the RBA interest rate decision. Overnight, the UK posts housing prices, and Germany unveils data on retail sales and its employment situation. Both the UK and the Eurozone released manufacturing data, while Europe also unveiled its employment rate. Tomorrow, the US will post its ISM manufacturing index. And that wraps it up for the day of Forex News. Join us again tomorrow right here at cmsfx.com. Until next time, happy trading.